Okay. There is no intro for Non-Gacha review. So, well met, lords and ladies. Jacob Bada speaking, and welcome back to another episode of Yeah, that's just an archive file that I still have from when Ghosty sent that over. Okay, just to go through a few things quickly. You're probably wondering why this is starting a full hour and a half behind what it usually does. I wish I had a good reason for that. Not really. My brother put on a movie, and I enjoyed said movie and watching the movie with said brother. That's it, honestly. It just so happened to coincide. However, there are a few things that I can say that are good about this, and that is that I am keeping my promise to Mania. I have indeed paid the fee for the annual professional level of restream, where beforehand I was on the standard plan, which allowed me to stream up to 720p, which is why people keep on saying, "Oh, why are the videos such bad quality?" Well, that was why. That is no longer an issue. I have now gone up to the version that allows me to stream up to 1080, and also 8 different social medias. I do not have 8 different social medias, but there you go. What was the movie? It was The World's End. That was the movie. So yes, welcome Cyber, welcome Fox and Josh. And now let's welcome our guests. We have BB.
Oh, they changed the format.
They changed
Yeah, we look different.
Oh no, that's just because. Oh, well, I think this is because this is the default. So normally I have it set to like this mode
Oh,
or
I
this
see.
mode.
I
Yeah.
see. Okay, see that I was like, "Whoa, they changed everything. There's like 50 new options on how to organize people now."
Oh, there are plenty of other options. I can go into this mode, which means that if
it's
I get
actually
another
it,
guest in, for example, KW, she appears like that.
it's
That's the
part
other
of
version.
the updated plan actually.
Hello!
It,
Wait,
it it's right
hold
there.
on.
It's right there on the terms and service. You get like 50 new ways upon paying the extra money. You know, they
Of course,
they really bulk it up for you to make sure
yeah.
you get your money's worth.
These definitely weren't here before.
Of course not.
Okay.
Dude, so I now niche little thing, I'm sure you haven't heard of it. Magic the Gathering.
Oh no, why
So
did you bring up that game?
so here's the thing.
That's a very good question because it has nothing to do with the stream subject.
So here's the thing, right? I've never played it, but
Me either.
I was adding to my Omniverse timeline, and I didn't quite realize
Hey, could someone in the
that.
chat please tally up how many times BB goes into a tangent without any segue from the stream itself?
And is that a challenge?
It's a challenge for the chat, not for you.
Okay, I was about to say I can make that tally real high for you.
I'm already starting half an hour late. I'd rather not.
I mean, you know, get that 24-hour stream.
Oh god.
Sorry, continue. I'm
yeah,
okay.
yeah. So what I hadn't realized is that this stupid card game has so much lore.
Oh,
Like, dear God.
I mean, I did. I realized that. I've played it before, actually. Actually, you know what? You
Is
know
it a
what?
fun
You know who
game?
introduced me to it? A mutual friend of Cybo's and mine was good old George the 13.
I
Oh, wow.
think he was a king at one point, wasn't he?
He could have been. That was when we played Greepolis, I think you're referencing. Which is
No, I'm referencing the fact that there's a bunch of like old British kings with the name George, and you just said George the 13.
Oh, okay. I thought it's because like you're the only person on the planet who's probably watched like most, if not all, of my videos. So it's like, okay,
It
are
was
you
just a
like
history
mistaken
joke.
bringing up the Greepolis video that I did as a one-off in 2015 with George the 13?
No, it's just a history joke.
I see.
Would you say Magic the Gathering is fun? I've genuinely never played it.
I tried it once and it's so confusing.
I mean, but I'll be honest. Most of the matches that I played were just demo matches because of because of the fact that I was learning, and so George was teaching me at the same time as playing himself, and I made a constant meme to see how many mountains I could actually put down at one point because it gave me a full deck with a bunch of mountains. So I was like, yes, I'm just gonna keep doing this for now. That's my strategy. So yeah, I'm not the person to ask.
Fair enough. Okay.
Right, let's get on to the video then, shall we? Because yes, the title is indeed correct. We at the moment have ourselves a third reboot of Mystic Hills Episode 1.
I thought it was the fourth.
No. What I meant to say, I misspoke. What I meant to say was there are 4 versions of Episode 1. This is the third remake, therefore the 4th video. I said it wrong before.
Okay.
So yeah, Mania's not that crazy. Mania's not crazy enough to remake this series 4 times, right? Mania, I know you're going to watch this in the future. I know you're going to see this stream. You're not crazy enough to do that, right?
Definitely.
Right.
This is actually, I think, why English classes teach you to do first and final drafts before actually turning in your pages.
Yes, but they usually don't leave like multiple years in between the drafts.
No, but
or make you
that's
the same assignment several times.
That's specifically an English class. In a real paper, it would probably be that long.
In scripts, it is the same. You're supposed to do multiple drafts. Most of the time, we in Buttercore do not. Most of the time, I don't speak for everyone here.
I redo my scripts quite a bit, for the record. The scripts that I do have lying around, I do reread like every episode to make sure it's perfect, and more times than not, I change stuff.
Yeah, I for the most part trust in my deep imbued sense of logic that actually made the birth phrase buzz logic get coined. Aiden relies on me. I am Aiden's second draft.
Oh. Yes. Oh, and Rip in the Dark. Even though Rip in the Dark isn't necessarily scripted in a traditional way, that's like the 4th or 5th iteration of a project I've had in mind for years.
So remember when I said I don't speak for everyone? You were the example I was thinking of. You and Monet, actually, because I'm sure it's a family thing. Went through multiple. Actually, no, it did, because it had an original concept in episode 0, which then ended up being repurposed. So at least one of those drafts made it to air. I'm sure there were more. Yeah,
for me, it's because like for instance, okay, disregarding the whole TTRPG aspect, assuming it's like a normal thing, right? See, this person has made it a bit of a bit at this point to make the remakes, from what I can tell, and I don't know, because the only reason I can think that they would feasibly do that is if they think that the original work wasn't all that great, which is fine and dandy and all, but like
there is some element of tragedy to that. I was going to say this for the end speech of the stream, but I might as well bring it up now because I'm sure that different people will be there at the end. There's an element of tragedy to the fact when an artist is so preoccupied with remaking things that is so self-critical, like to the point that they feel the need to constantly go back to doing the exact same thing. Being self-critical is not the problem. Absolutely not. And if you do feel like you need to do like one remake or something, then absolutely. And people have been doing it for ages, especially in the world of cinema. Some of the great epics of all time have been remakes. The problem,
don't
of course,
take Disney's example though.
I was more thinking of stuff like Ten Commandments, Ben-Hur, things like that. But yeah, so Disney's example is definitely not the one to go by, but some things are. It just depends.
I was really hoping that the Little Mermaid remake would be different, but after hearing that they're changing the script because they think the original one is really bad,
Isn't
for
that
us for
what we
boy
just
girls.
went over? The fact that you need multiple drafts, didn't we just go over that?
Dude, they're remaking Mulan already. Not Mulan, sorry, not Mulan. Moana.
What?
I mean, that
Yeah.
that definitely feels like a very, very short distance in between those.
That's what everyone is saying. Dude, the movie came out
Coming
like
soon.
less than a decade ago.
Coming soon, Encanto, the remake, the live action
Right,
remake.
right.
You too can explore Pita in
Dude,
the Disney
Same
park
thing for
section.
Squid Game. So Squid Game's another one that came out pretty recently. They're making like an American live action like version, which is essentially just a remake, except slightly more American.
That's
I
quite a
don't
common
get
thing
it.
for Americans to do. There's a lot of originally British shows that end up being remade for American audiences.
Yeah, I mean, like Power Rangers, for instance. That's an
That's not
iconic
an
one.
example that I was going to go for the British ones. I was thinking The Office, but yes, that Power Rangers is not British, but definitely Americanized to some extent.
Yeah, that will not because they sort of just take scenes and then redub them on at least in a lot of the early stuff because it was a Japanese show called Super Sentai.
Yes, so let me go
Yes.
back to my original point, because again, there are examples of remakes that don't work. What I'm saying, the kind of remakes I was thinking of are the ones where the original artist has come back. So say like the movie was originally made sometime in like the 20s or something. Like The Mummy, for example, was like 1932, and then they did a remake sometime in the 50s, I think, for the Hammer Horror collection. Stuff like that. And I think it was usually the same artist. For Ben-Hur and Technology, it was the same artist going back and just redoing things with better technology. Yes, there was a good like 30-year gap in between those, but I mean, this is the internet, so it has practically been 30 internet years since since Mystic Hills came out, the original version. But the thing is, like, now we're on the fourth version. It feels like this is just going to be a never-ending cycle. At some point, it is good to realize that yes, you could do better currently wherever you are in your artistic journey, but you don't have to. What you have done exists, and you're able to move forward with other projects and other ideas and let people enjoy the stuff that you've already done.
Yeah. The
tragedy part. That's what I feel like Mate is missing right now, unfortunately.
The other thing with this, right? Let's assume it truly is this endless cycle, and they will never ever be happy with this series that they put out. In worst case scenario, there is no happy ending for this series, and I don't mean narratively.
Also narratively, because you never get to the end of any given version.
That's true. But assuming that is the case, once you release it, and assuming that you have the self-awareness to acknowledge that fact, once you release it, if you feel like you want to remake it again, maybe just recycle some ideas.
Oh, there is that. So this does pertain a lot to the Mystic Hills remakes that we've been going through already. If people have seen my previous streams, you'll remember that as the remakes progressed, yes, the visuals and cinematography definitely improved. The story, in several key aspects, did not. And that's where some ideas could have been recycled. There are some behind the scenes reasons why certain characters do not make a return, or they've been renamed or repurposed. And that's not really entirely Mania's fault. But there's other things in there that are just like, well, okay, you've like the original vision you were trying to get across from here, that's not the same. In fact, there's actually, I could also say like this example. I was going to talk about this in a different scripted video or something eventually. One of the first role plays I was ever actually a part of, one of the first shows or anything, was this thing called the Durhamist. This is going back all the way to 9 years ago, basically. There's Leon Tarkshina, one of my school friends, is that he started out trying to do this Roblox creepypasta, which evolved into this idea of this person who ended up being trapped inside of Roblox, which evolved into the idea of there being an inner layer of characters that aren't player characters. They were born and bred inside of Roblox. I then came along and expanded that to say, well, maybe there's like this thing in other games. Maybe there's a whole multimedia thing. And that seemed to be going just fine. We kept on going like back and forth with a bunch of ideas until eventually Leon decided, I don't like this idea anymore. Let's repurpose it and let's add a few other things. Let's get celebrity endorsement. We were, at one point, he was trying to actually book Jazz Jennings, the TLC star Jazz Jennings, probably during the first season of I Am Jazz. I think that's around the time that this was happening. But in order to actually come in and voice herself as the new main character. So eventually the ideas got so crazy, and nothing was even produced at this point. Mania, at least to her credit, has produced all of these things. And then after a while, eventually he made an announcement that the series was scrapped after 3 episodes, which had been unlisted for quite some time. They're now back up on YouTube again, but yeah, it was a journey. And yeah, so eventually some ideas, like the best way to do like remake stuff is remember the original vision. If you want to recapture the original vision, go ahead. If you have a different one, I mean, sure, I suppose it's always going to be compared to the original,
Right.
and if there's more issues with the different premise, that's going to come back to haunt you, and that's going to be another reason why I want to remake it again.
Right.
But that's all.
see-
That's all fine and good. However, what actually did indeed happen here? I haven't seen this video. It came out 2 weeks ago. I made a promise that when this came out, I would review it, and it's been delayed and delayed and delayed for multiple reasons.
And
But
now we're here.
Yes, and hopefully the 1080p is working. We're going to find out right now. So without further ado, on with the review.
I will say, I was speaking more so in opposed to just another remake to this. I meant more so if you have ideas, you could recycle them for another project.
So wait,
that's a good idea too. Yes.
So it's like a series, a movie, or
This is a series, but with how many times it's been remade with with very little episodes, it may as well be short films.
I see. Okay. I was just wondering because I never heard of this until you're like, there's like a bunch of remakes. I'm like, what the heck? Okay.
Yeah. This is one of the classic Minecraft roleplays.
Ah.
Well, this version isn't, but the first one is.
Right.
In fact, I'm pretty sure these screenshots may or may not be from other versions. It might be from this one. I don't remember.
Dude, was I right with her like merging them all?
I remember these ones. Yeah.
Wait, was my idea right? Is she actually making all the reboots connected?
Probably.
I don't
Who
actually
knows?
know.
Because you remember me spitballing ideas about that last time we reviewed this.
I don't, but I believe it.
I mean, there is one series I watched that was like sort of a Minecraft roleplay that was made like years ago, and they were trying to remake it, but sadly it was canceled for I don't know reasons. They keep saying it's gonna come back soon, but it never did, which sucks.
No, see, the idea I spitballed was like, hey, but what if this was all destined to happen, and so they just kept going back to try and change stuff, which only caused the real prophecy to become more and more accurate because they keep accidentally forcing certain events to happen in a certain way.
I'll be honest. Well, yeah, two things with that. One, it's a good idea on paper because that actually also mirrors the real life Mania going through this and regurgitating the same thing, or at least the same similar premise with the same characters over and over. However, the problem with that is that the lore has changed several times. Like, remember the last time we had, I can't even remember what they were called now, to do something to do with like the souls, and then there were the hunters specifically, along with the mystics.
Right, but what I'm saying is maybe they're trying to keep it from happening, and so they're going back to various points in time, causing domino effects.
Entire world history, but yet they still end up moving to the exact same town.
Yeah, just little domino effects over the general world, and then eventually it becomes the final version.
Madness is happening.
No, not the multiverse. Not the multiverse. In this specific instance, I'm not referring to going to another universe. I'm referring to going to the past and going back to the future logic to essentially erase the future because they know what's going to happen in the future, which only causes them to create the future that was promised to them as opposed to the one that they got.
I mean,
I see.
yeah, if that was Back to the Future logic, that was like that the way to change the Back to the future that they wanted was just through their own motivations to keep things the same way that they knew before. Because I'm pretty sure at one point, especially like in one of the Telltale games, Hill Valley just disappeared at one point. World history.
This is true.
Yeah,
This is true.
so that might be the best example of what you're saying, but I do know time travel stories do work like that.
I mean more so the time travel rule of going to the past and the future is erased.
Yep. However, in this instance, we've gone to the past, we've altered world history, created entire new species and lore, and still ended up basically exactly the same. Yeah, lore. Yes. Exactly.
Let's go.
I can't do the Matt Pat voice.
No! This is all wrong!
I never tried.
What are you doing? The first timeline was perfect!
I was right, baby!
Oh
I
my
was
goodness.
Let's go. I saw one remake of this, heard you complain, and I came up with the thing that happened in the yes.
Very well then.
I think you should become a theorist now.
Dude, oh my god. I'm so happy with myself.
Right, so 3 things. 1, congrats, BB. I'm glad you good to see someone predicting something that isn't me. Secondly, I do have to actually at least again commend the idea to have like everything like coming towards you and all that, as all those different images and everything, plus the sound mixing of the echo and the actual performance from whoever's doing the first time on his perfect line. Third thing, is that directed at me, Mania? Is that because I said the first Mystic Kills version was the best one?
Oh, you know what the sad part is? Considering I've heard what behind the scenes is, I feel like I made up that idea long before they figured it out.
I don't know. I mean, well, again, if it was in that stream where I was talking about the different timelines and stuff, and it was a dig at me, then it were the same rules, possibly. I don't know. You keep your focus on letting Scott give you credit, and then we'll focus on Mania later.
Good to know there's voice acting. That scared me when I heard the voice. I'm like, oh, okay, so this is okay.
Dude, at first I was like, wait, there's no way, because I started hearing it after we started talking. I was like, there's no way, and then he goes the time once. I'm like, I did it.
That was like very well timed, I will admit.
So you erase this time?
Okay, so when you echo, when someone sounds like they're very distant, that's a cool effect. Then suddenly when you have that like close up, it feels a little bit weird if someone's having a normal conversation and they're just echoing like they're calling you from a distance.
So I think the idea that they're trying to give away is that
they're in a void.
Yeah, this void like acts kind of like just an endless cave. It's just constantly reverberating, which if you wanted to get real technical could arguably be a metaphor for the timelines repeating and echoing.
If you want to get actually technical, the voids would never have an echo on them because echo requires something for the sound to bounce off.
Well, okay, yes. By technical, I mean more so like metaphorically. If you want to like pick it apart, you could say this is a metaphor for the timelines echoing.
Okay.
That timeline was altered to an irreparable
I love that.
I'm trying to listen. The echo makes it hard. Hold on.
So you erased this? The timeline does not exist anymore.
As it should be.
I mean, it's still public on YouTube, but whatever.
That timeline was altered to an irreparable state. It needs to be mended.
The timeline. Hold on. The timeline was altered to an irreparable state. It needs to be mended. Correct me if I'm wrong, but if something is irreparable, that means it can't be mended, right?
That's true.
I feel like, yeah.
I would assume that she means to the best of her ability. Because if you look at the first one, you look at where you're at now, there is probably a significant difference as opposed to if you went like one remake to another.
Yeah, I think some of these images are from 2 remakes ago.
You tried to mend the timeline in several instances. In fact, not only one of those timelines.
Yeah, yes.
Oh god.
That has unfortunately resulted in the word timeline being repeated like a bajillion times.
Now you better have a good reason for this.
What do
Yeah.
you mean? The reason is because I'm a mastermind.
Oh dear god. Turns out everyone, BB Butter's in this roleplay and he's a mastermind. He decided to remake all of this.
She,
I'm
but that
saying
would
you
actually
are!
be more motivation. Yes.
Yeah, I know. I am girl.
Oh, okay.
I am
Sorry!
liberal.
Have you not seen me do the woman?
This will be different.
I'm sorry!
No, she didn't. She just met you.
To be fair, Jacob, you promised to do that for National Women's. Okay.
Yes, I promised that on National Women's Day. I didn't have time to edit the video. I still have a file though.
Okay, good to know. I'm sorry. I apologize. Don't.
Right now.
I'll remember it next time.
I do not believe you.
Believe what you wish. I will mend the mistakes made from the past.
Your work
Yeah, so just make more mistakes. That was literally what we said at the beginning of this video.
will be for nothing. He will just destroy it again.
Stop doing our job for us.
For me to decide.
Very much so.
So, okay. I'm gonna throw out another theory then. So,
Yes.
immediately we have conflict. What I think is gonna happen is I think there's gonna be a subplot that slowly gets more important involving these implicitly 2 gods. I'm assuming that they're both the same status. I'm going to assume that these 2 will slowly get to arguing to actual battle, and maybe that'll tamper with the timeline, which hopefully, if this is the final remake, will eventually lead to the very end where the timeline is mended, because if we're retroactively saying that is the case, and I was right, whoop-de-doo, I'm gonna pat myself on the back just continuously throughout this, then I feel like it would make more sense to mend the timeline at the end of this, because implicitly that means the other ones were the bad ending. So let's get that good ending.
Of course, I went a different direction with that, actually. I mean, yeah, the gods might battle or something like that. I actually think probably at some point, the main characters, particularly Mania, are going to notice that something seems off, and they're going to be the ones who are, because obviously the timeline affects them most because they're living through it. So they might be the ones to present the solution to something, or to come up with some sort of ethical discussion around it, sort of the same way that you have just now.
To be fair, I don't necessarily agree. And the reason is because of this. They, unless of course they see the gods or something, right? Their gods reveal themselves. Then they have no reason to be suspicious, right? Because it's like,
well, now that we haven't seen them yet, we've got to actually get to the point where we have mysticism being involved. Once we get to discovering other worlds of things, who's to say they don't find out about the other parts of time? Who's to say that some of the characters who are magically aware might actually feel that some sort of disturbance has happened or something has been altered and investigated? They very much could find out about this.
They could, but they haven't reacted that way in the past.
Well, let's see if they're out like that in the present.
There's a cat person? Okay.
Oh, remember? Oh, yeah, I forgot. There's like 5 species in the second remake, and several others. Yeah.
Oh, we gonna double it here?
I don't know. It's like 10 main characters, so probably not. Also, here they are.
Get some action and distract him right now. He's fine. Got Lucy on the line. Let's get this started. Where's the party tonight?
There's a Sarkova? What the heck?
Nothing weighs me down. I can't believe my love right now.
Well, who might that handsome devil be?
I'm just really surprised, like, Minecraft these days.
Oh, but yeah, absolutely. I mean, particularly this scene. I think when I was hovering you know how YouTube does the thing where you hover over a video and it plays a certain section? This is the section that played. I knew from the get-go that this was going to be absolutely, obviously, the best visually. Like that went without saying. That's the way that Mania operates. But to this extent, was very surprised. I mean, even there, she kind of looked like she was nervous right before we see her. Like we got the theme of nervousness from a character that has no mouth. That is impressive.
That wasn't so impressive.
Well, I mean, it's at least better than, you know, the freezing models of the past. But yeah,
I disagree. My head can fill in the blanks better there than visually seeing it and knowing that it was very slow of a fall.
Yeah, I think the fall just needs to be like you know, time compressed at least. You're gonna go inside, it's gonna pan up, is it? Title card. There you go. I'm back. I had a slip at the beginning of the video, but I'm back now. Okay.
The magic within. Hold on. Yeah. Do we want to decipher what the magic within means? Anyone got theories on that one?
Be my guest.
Okay.
All right, some nice slow establishing shots to go with the mood. Nice.
It was the night before the eve.
So
the
use of the
Christmas Eve.
So the use of
like I'm watching ponies again. 'Twas the night before the eve, and yellow.
I mean, to be fair, there is a giant like peppermint thing over here. There's like a peppermint pole over here.
Oh god.
Yeah,
but,
I guess there is.
So the use of the Aurora Borealis. So for me,
implies some sort of Scandinavian town potentially.
Well, I know the Aurora Borealis is like a real thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
But honestly, I don't like to treat it like that in storytelling. People can acknowledge that it is, but I don't. I have always thought that, especially in MCRPs, I've noticed it used a lot in like the shaders and stuff for these, where it'll be used a lot. I don't know that it should be. Why think not? Because the Aurora Borealis, and this might be an unpopular opinion.
Count instantly.
And this might be an unpopular opinion, but for me, the Aurora Borealis should signify almost a sense of magic.
Wow, so a sense of magic in a series called Mystic Hills. Who would have thought?
Well, that is why I said I quite like it.
Okay. I will also say, I have technically seen parts of the Aurora Borealis in real life. It happened to be in a very like super lit industrial city, so it was like one stretch of green, but it technically was there.
It existed.
It did exist, yes.
I mean, there is. Oh wait.
Oh dear God! Who puts their alarm on military time?
Oh hey, it's my usual stream time.
It knows that you were late.
Hello?
Yeah, it's just tormenting me. See, first the timeline line, which is clearly, it's like almost a reference to how I like go about these reviews, and then we have the stream time. Mania knows. Mania knows.
Mania was there whenever I gave my theory. I'm just saying.
Well, yes. Well, Mania was also there when I was talking about all the remakes and stuff. Yeah, and has also, I think, in the first stream wasn't there at the start, but then joined at the end and then caught up with everything else afterwards.
I see.
And also pointed out to me there was another Mystic Hills remake. So that's the reason that the other stream existed, the second one, and now we're here on the third.
Well, she got to see the eye colors.
Hello?
This episode is very void heavy, I'm noticing.
I don't have a problem with voids, but I feel like it should be spread out.
Yeah, minor detail as well. I enjoy the lighting in here, or lack thereof. I'm not sure how this void effect was actually achieved. I can speculate, but I'm sure
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
I'm sure that Mania can volunteer that information at some point because she occasionally does behind the scenes things.
For me, I agree. The void, I think right now is fine. I think if it's keep getting used this much, then there'll be an issue. But
Yeah.
I wish the void idea, right? Because I feel like for the plane of the gods, it should be a little bit more colorful. The void is like generally supposed to be a spooky thing, I would think, but
Sort of
I
kind of
feel
like
like-
a nightmare, maybe.
I mean, if you're trying to inhabit a realm that's outside of time and space, I guess making it look devoid of those things I mentioned, there'll be no need for
Yeah,
the
sure.
light or the material or things. I suppose there is that.
I mean, sure,
know.
there wouldn't be a need, but there's not a lot of need for most of the stuff we have. We still get it because it looks nice. I could believe that a sentient deity would make sunlight. Why? Because it looks pretty.
I mean, that is what the first ancient deity that we were all taught about did. The very first action. So why not?
Help who? Who are you?
Help. You. Me.
What? Hey! Who are you?
Mania, wake up. It's time.
It's time for school, isn't it?
Hey, it's time to go.
That's
Yeah.
that's well, since
time to
we
go
have-
to
okay.
where? Time to go to
yes,
where?
Yes, all right. I'll.
Get up.
Wow, that was a really long dream. My goodness, that one segment took 5 hours. How?
I mean, people have said like with dreams, like it actually lasts like a few minutes, even though it feels like hours.
It
Which
could
I
also
do not really believe. Honestly, I know that
Occasionally,
sounds
it'll be the
bad.
opposite that's happened here. The dream lasted minutes, but it was actually hours.
it
Yeah.
could also be that was meant to just be the amount that they remember.
Then why start so soon?
Hey, why do they have a digital
I'm not
switch
sure
in
Sam went in.
Minecraft?
Maybe this was deliberately has nothing.
The bad leftovers or something.
Okay, yeah, we did right. Fine then.
I've never had a dream that weird before.
Okay, again, I feel okay. You know what? I'm gonna say this. Okay, this clock, I reckon it's like on an actual timer, and however long it takes them to set the shots, they just have that there, and they didn't think to reset it, and they had the misfortune of forgetting about it and showing 3 shots of it in quick succession.
We could make excuses for dreams since those don't make a lot of sense. Not sure how 12 minutes was passed in the waking world.
They do say girls take a long time to get ready.
Okay, seriously, what are they using for this Minecraft thing? Like, oh my gosh!
I think there's demand for other behind the scenes video. Just saying.
They might be customized
Do we
models.
have
Yeah.
Yes,
True.
well, I mean,
But still.
oh, Mania
like,
does have people who
wow.
can customize models. Yeah, in fact, there's a bunch of credits actually. I'm sure that someone's credited for customized models at least amongst the merch promos as well. Oh, okay. So, I mean, there are a bunch of skin assets, including by some people who are in Maniac Studios themselves. Others are Bin of Trash, the classic. Let me see. Yeah, no, there's a whole Google Doc with all of the actors on it. So yeah, fair enough.
Everything we can't live without?
Elton, we've been preparing this for weeks. Let's just get out of here already.
Elton, that's a new name. I did not recognize that from the other ones.
I'm so tired.
Please, Elton, let's just hurry and go.
I'm so
Alright.
tired. Like, oh my god.
I just realized something. I think that's Nick next to Elton from the other versions. He doesn't have heterochromia this time.
Alright, let's...
And where are you off to this early in the morning?
Imagine if heterochromia in this universe is like if you have parts of your past selves within you.
Oh.
Well, that would be the
to
opposite.
like
that'd
it
be
to
opposite
like
for
a
poor
point of
Mania
like
over there.
mixed to like a point of mixed memories.
That would
And
actually
now, like-
imply that would imply that OG Mania had other past selves, which means there might be an even further back point in the timeline.
Leaving, mother.
I wouldn't be surprised. It would also make the line "you always mess it up" even more funny. Knowing that it got messed up multiple times. That's all the drafts that did actually get redone prior to release.
just a decade-long re-scripting process, which means if it's decade-long, we wouldn't be done yet. But whatever.
Oh. And where do you plan on going, Elton?
Grandmother's. At least there, we know we will be taken care of.
How dare you! You ungrateful brat! After everything I've done for you?
Everything
I can start to see why he's leaving.
you've done? All you've done is scream at us after every little inconvenience. When you aren't at work, you're screaming at Dad about how worthless he is.
Get the
Because
kids
he
out.
is, and you're taking after him. Worthless! All of you are worthless children!
Don't back
Not
up.
exactly helping.
Does Mom not love us
Okay,
anymore?
cool. Now clock her in the face. The kids
course
are
she
gone.
loves
There's
us.
no witnesses. Kill her.
Oh God! Okay.
God, I just imagine if that's how it opened up. I mean, the original Mystic Hills opened up with while the family was in a coma, but yeah, sure, that's more extreme.
The
Mom's
family
just-
was in a coma.
One of the family members, not the entire family. There was a house fire.
Okay.
Yeah. In fact, I think it was actually this character on the right here. Assuming that is indeed Nick. I've made the mistake in the past of thinking that certain reboot characters like the original cells and being wrong, so we'll see for now.
Having a hard time
Man,
lately.
she's really using the like actual body types a lot more in this version than the others, from what I can tell.
Oh
Like-
yeah, it's not like.
Like, for instance, like chest busts and curves are used a lot more in this.
Also, also height. I think height was also introduced like in some of the other versions. Definitely. In fact,
Sure.
actually,
Heights-
I specifically referred to Mania as vertically challenged on one particular video, the character, not the person. And then the actual person commented on the video, "Hey, I'm not vertically challenged. Like, I didn't.
So okay,
I've seen your face once in like years. I don't know.
that
I
that may
know.
be true. We don't get a lot of
What?
direct side by side shots, and so it's really hard for me to actually say that height is different in these because it's like, yeah, but depending on how you angle the shot, something can look larger and smaller.
We'll pay attention to that more going forward. Let's see.
Is all.
Yeah, Mania's right. Mom loves us, she just needs some time to figure things out.
To regret the fact that we left and then have a complete change of heart and come back and, in a desperate cry.
Get out!
What?
Never come back!
You failed.
I mean, I feel I call that a success, honestly. They wanted to leave the house and now they're leaving the house, but also, everyone seems to agree this time.
Brat! I better not see you again or I'll call the cops!
The caps.
Come on,
How
guys.
old are they
I have a plane to-
exactly?
But we'll find out. I like the fact that there's not much that's actually being said to us like at the beginning, as in like being told directly. Remember that was the issue
Like
with
what?
the third remake, especially.
Yeah.
Where
I will
like,
say, if they're 17 or below, and this takes place in America, then I don't think she's legally allowed to kick them out without papers.
they want to leave anyway. They're not going to sue her for that.
Well, no, I'm just saying, if cops were to bring them back upon
Yeah, if I-
hearing that she said don't
Oh,
return.
right. Yeah, if she does call the cops, she's going to be telling on herself. Yes, that is true. Very empty threats. As for whether it does take place in America or not, I'm actually not sure. Again, the Orbital answer's there, so probably not. but
I was just
if I
saying
had to
America.
guess-
I was just saying America because that's where 18 is the adult age, and that's not the case in other
Yeah.
places.
I thought you were referring to
that-
the accents of the main characters, but yeah.
Catch.
She says
Yeah,
she's going to
right.
call the cops, but Dad's a police officer.
Stupid bitch.
Nick.
Oh God. Okay.
Okay. Well, we've confirmed that this character is indeed Nick. I was right.
Sorry.
Those other two are new.
I
pretty
like
sure.
this guy.
Maya did have another sibling in other versions, but never got too much attention.
The gods decided he was unimportant to the timeline.
No, but the gods were like, you know what? Let's just split this character in half, and then like have them be born at different times. So now you've got two other siblings, who of course had to prove their worth because one just got called worthless.
We shall cut this baby in half.
Yes, Josh, profanity.
I would expect more of that here.
Wait, Holland, did you just reference King Solomon?
Yes.
I love that. I mean, of course, actually, yeah, coming from you, that makes perfect sense. If people haven't watched KW's review of Fallen Angels, there's a lot of there's a lot of religion and mythology talks that happen during that reaction, particularly.
I did not mean to happen. We were just like talking about, oh, okay, of course we're going to talk about this. And then Jay was like, well, it is this religion. And I'm like, oh, God.
Wait a second.
Oh,
Hey, look, wait,
don't worry about it.
KW,
We're all friends with BB. We're all used to that by now.
KW, you like history?
I very much do, actually. I love history.
I'm
actually
so thrilled to
Counter
see.
ready. Get the counter ready.
I am so thrilled to see your assuming you want to review of Rip in the Dark, and I don't mean that just for marketing's sake. I mean because I have a lot of. I mean that because I also just have a lot of historical references, and I hope there's somebody on the face of the planet who will actually like register what it is.
Okay, wait. Actually, speaking of marketing's sake, I was going to make a community post before, but I didn't have time to do that today for several reasons. The community post was going to say, I've just made a playlist today, including a bunch of the reactions that are done by different people to Butterverse stuff. So the ones that Ghostkey did back in the day for Mutant Girl, KW's Fallen Angels ones, Josh's Fallen Angels ones. Yes, there's now it's a playlist on the channel. It's called Fan Reactions. I'll make a section for it on the main page at some point. But basically,
that's really sick.
But that's not all. That's not all. That's that. But wait, there's more. So it turns out that you can actually add people as collaborators. So if someone's going to be making regular reactions, then if I add them as a collaborator, assuming that they're a person on that account, then they can actually put their reaction in there. And I've set the players to appear as so the most recent video will always be on top. So you get to see those and keep going back in time.
Yeah, I've seen the collaboration thing before. I've never used it. It feels so risky because if someone wants to be malicious, they can just destroy all of it.
I'm pretty sure you have to like add people specifically. That's my understanding. If
yeah, it's like certain people. Certain people, yeah.
If something does happen, then I will just redo the playlist again. I mean, why not? Okay, moving on.
Enough.
I have more questions about how they managed to book a plane ticket as minors than how, they decided to go to their grandmother's house. Because that is the time of the episode, after all. I love that. The kid is trying to look outside the window, but is like when he's peering through the seat. Oh, of course. Yeah, trying to see like a different perspective, like a different mirror from that. I've done that before on planes, actually. I also love however the panning is actually being done. I mean, I know it's being done via Blockbuster, but I just like the fact that I love how far we've come. Like I remember the first reboot where most of the people talking were like completely like off the shot, and it was mainly like they were all like held on them more than a Stanley Kubrick film. And here we are now actually with, much more dynamic movement. It actually sort of feels like it might even be handheld. Which, of course, it's not, but you know what I mean.
Imagine how thrilled you'll be if this were all done and this were the first for release.
I mean, that is true, yes. But that being said, the original version still drew me in. That was how I found just a recommended section one time.
I know, I'm just saying, if that drew you in, for this version being the first one released, it might just choke you.
You. It's you again. Gaia. Me.
Did you just say Gaia?
Yes.
Okay, so now I have a proper complaint about the Void. Hold on a second. Okay, before it was more of an artistic choice. Now I have a genuine problem. Okay. No, I refuse.
Explain your complaint. Explain to your complaint. For
You
those who do not
cannot
know.
make the ruler here, Gaia, the Earth Goddess, reside in an empty void with a total of like one other person. Maybe there's other gods, but that doesn't defeat my point that you open this with Gaia in an empty void. Please tell me they have like another dimension that they also reside in. That's this nice, lush, grassy,
hope
sunny,
so.
flowery place.
Well, even if they did, Gaia is supposed to not just be the ruler of the Earth, but actually be the Earth itself. So it still would be away from her primary setting.
What do you want?
He will help.
I was not expecting this.
Okay. I thought you said this person doesn't like being compared to Aphmau, and then they have this song playing.
Well,
that's for season 2, right?
That doesn't matter. What, do you think that Mania was selective about which parts of Aphmau she'd like to be compared to? I don't think so.
I forgot this song was in season 2.
It's like the main staple. I love the effects here. I think. Hold on a second.
Is that a pancake or a straw hat?
I feel like that might be a croissant or something. I don't know.
It's not a straw hat.
No, too small.
Hey kids, how was your flight? Did you eat?
It was fine, grandmother. We ate before we got on the flight.
It's lunchtime. You must be hungry. Come in. I'll cook up some food right now.
No, Grandma, that's okay.
Nonsense. Airport food is disgusting and unfilling.
Grandma's right, you know.
I just want to go sit
That's actually because of how the plane affects your taste buds, but yes.
down.
Nerd.
Excuse me? Oh, say, do you like history? Well, I've included a bunch of history references. Hope you get them all.
In 1972, William Afton began his murdering spree. Sorry.
Not, yeah, too recent history, actually, for Rip in the Dark.
Yeah, go a couple centuries sooner.
In 1772? No, still.
That's still modern compared.
You said a
In
couple
800 BC!
Okay, that's a little bit prior to then.
I mean, I know the actual answer. I was just because you said a couple of centuries. That's why. Yeah. Because unlike Shorty, I actually take a couple to be literal some of the time. Yeah. Mania's asleep again. But Gaia must be a really interesting person to talk to. Oh, Galactic
hey,
Girl
Galactic Girl, yes!
You know, I'm just saying, I feel like any of the gods would be interesting to speak to.
I mean, yeah. Potentially, yes.
Actually,
That all
Galactic Girl
depends.
Jess is actually a fan of Aphmau. They're the ones who told me everything about Aphmau.
Wait, okay,
I
imagine
was
this.
thinking I might know the name, but I guess not then.
Imagine this. It's only so obviously. So this character has only started getting these dreams ever since the camera started rolling, right? So my imagine if it's like this meta thing where the viewers are like some sort of cosmic force in this world, and that's what's causing the disturbance.
There's a disturbance in the Force, you mean?
No, I mean in the universe.
Sorry.
And so that's why Gaia is suddenly speaking to her, because now that we're like actually watching and knowing things, then
this is the
maybe
point
she's like, hey.
Mm-hmm. You've not watched the Diaries series? Don't worry about it. I actually, since you bring that up, Galactic Girl Jess, I had a question for KW. This was something that Aiden asked me a while ago, because I mentioned that you have been watching Mighty Season 1 for the first time. And I was thinking, but you actually have like other knowledge of the series going forward, because I've referenced certain things and you know exactly what I'm talking about. There was that one time when I accidentally like dropped a bit of info in season 6, as Kawaii-chan. I do apologize. for that. Didn't. It's like, oh wait, of course you don't know about the chest wound things. Like, oh, and I passed out. Yes, you passed out. Exactly. Yes, and
I still.
other than
I
that,
s-
have you? My question is, how like have you like listened? Have you like watched My Street before up to that point, or is Galactic Girl Jess just told you a bunch of things?
So me and Galactic Girl Jess, we would talk about like Minecraft role plays and such, and they would always talk about Aphmau and like what series they like, and favorite characters, like what they like and don't like in the series, such like my street and my inner demons and everything. So I remember some references and everything like that from them, but not like like all of the lore, if that makes
Perfect.
sense.
Perfect. In which case, I can say this: Galactic Girl Jess, shame on you. You talked all about My Street and spoiled everything up until season 6 without showing the series. Just make KW watch the videos next time. It's way better. My goodness. Okay. I think you mean When Angels Fall here. That's different. Yeah, but okay.
Falling in. Yeah, that's it.
It's a cross between Fallen Angels and When Angels Fall. That'd be terrible.
Guys, it's a
Individually, I'd
crossover
join
you've
them
been
both.
waiting for.
But no, I still think, and I've said this before, but I wish this would happen in season 6. Now they bring up like the chest wound. God, if only that's
yes,
whenever
more
they.
spoilers for KW. Prepare.
Well, except it's not, because they never did this, but I wish they did. So I wish around season 6 they could have pulled the like Shadow Knight and Divine Warrior card, like the gag that happened in My Big Move. They could have brought it back, made it a canon thing, like an explicitly canon thing, and as like a result of all this like cosmic things and going into like their ancestry with MCD and all that, they could have gone into those forms, and we could have had this epic thing at the finale where they're in like their Shadow Knight and Divine Warrior forms, and it would have been a big, awesome battle.
Problem. Well, I was gonna say problem is that one of them wasn't there to witness that. But actually, that would have been would have been both a help and a hindrance, considering what happens before we get to the end battle.
That's true. But like, for instance, like Garth, right? Whenever he's controlled, having him be as
that
like
was
a divine
what I was
warrior.
trying to not say to because KW was here, but that is the exact event I was referencing. Thank you.
They never bring they never bring it back up.
That's what I don't. Yeah, so if they brought up the Jury of Night form in there, which is what it actually was,
wait.
Then
I meant to say, you know what I meant to say.
Yes, I know what you meant to say. Let me finish the sentence. If they did bring back the Jury of Night form, then that would have been a hindrance at first. That's what I was trying to say with, it would have been a help and a hindrance depending on the situation based on what happens before. All that stuff I was trying to say without having to be explained. Oh well. Okay. If KW watched MC Diaries or Season 4 and 4 news, they experienced that without spoilers. Well, fair enough. Although, presumably, if you've watched Season 5, then you must know a few spoilers yourself of Season 4 since they referenced them. But I don't know. You do you. You don't like the green eyes. But so hold on, wait. When the green eyes were going to show up, and you not to watch the seasons that took place in. Does that mean someone spoiled you as well? Is this a vicious cycle?
It's
blink twice if you need help.
Aphmau is it's starting to become quite similar to an oral tradition. See.
Except we don't need it to be because we have the documentation for it. There's no need. In fact, that's actually probably hurting Aphmau to have that just be like an oral tradition rather than actually consume the content itself and promote the actual My Street even more than just people doing marathons like me.
Yes, Ben?
You okay?
Yeah, just really tired.
Elton calls that jet lag.
He would be right if we traveled far.
Is 8 states away from...
Dude, your wife keeps checking me out.
What?
This is a child.
Not far.
No, it is. Sorry, Ben. I'm just really
Oh my god, we can
tired.
hear the Afro music
It's okay.
again.
Well, yeah, it didn't really stop.
Benji, what do you want to eat?
Chicken nuggies!
What, dinosaurs? Are they dinosaurs?
Have they done it? What? Done it? They could be.
The dino
There are, like-
nuggies.
I mean, birds are descended from dinosaurs, so on some level, yes.
Ah, what the? Oh, wait, sorry.
Yeah, some dynamic movement. She did a full sit up to. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah. I know. Like, that's what I was trying to figure out with this. Yeah, I'm aware that she's now finished season 1 at the very least.
I'm on season 2, episode 2, or half of it at least.
Oh, I mean, I would recommend. Actually, wait a minute. I was going to say I have a whole video with my official recommendations. I was going to say I think I put Phoenix Up high next on that list after that point. But either way,
I do not like the wallpaper, to be honest.
it's a grandma's house. I think that does kind of make sense.
Okay, that makes sense. Makes sense,
Yeah.
but still. It reminds me of a movie, Miracle on 34th Street? With the yellow paper wall in their house?
That to me sounds like it might be the remake, because that one was in color.
Ah.
Since we're on the subject.
Oh yeah, I forgot there's like
Oh,
different
just
versions.
nosedive.
Was it Miracle on 34th Street? I can never remember. It was.
Okay,
It was
it's
a
not the
Christmas
clock.
movie.
It's not the clock, everyone. Keep track. 4 p.m.
Kawaii-chan Spin is there!
Oh my goodness.
So I had to do it once because Galactic Girl Jess is here, so I have to do it once.
Oh yeah, but yeah, Galactic Gold Jess, you missed a whole stream yesterday of KW as Kawaii-chan and myself as Zane reacting to a terrible My Street adaptation. Not just because it's on my channel, but I do suggest you check that out.
Kawaii-chan says so. Watch it.
Yes. And Zane says you might thoroughly enjoy it. I mean, no, it's fine. I know.
It's fine. It's totally.
I'm saying it for you. Like I know that it's like the cliche sub-pro thing, but no, like based on what I know, like what little I know about you, I think you'll genuinely enjoy that video.
Are you good in here?
I guess.
You good? That line gets written by Aiden.
I'm just really tired.
Nah, I don't blame you. Today's been pretty stressful.
Do you think Dad is mad at us?
For leaving? Nah. I know he wanted to leave too, but he was stuck there with Mom because we were there.
So...
Wait, but if you weren't there, then he would be able to leave, but you're not there. You both were left at once. That makes no sense.
He's going to leave too?
I hope so.
He could have literally just come with you. By your own reasoning, the fact your presence in the house was what kept him there. If you are removing your presence from the house, then he could always go with you at the same time. Yeah, okay.
Maybe he
you
was
guys-
worried that the dad was saying, no, you can't, or something. I don't know.
I mean, the truth of the matter is that probably wasn't even the reason. I mean, if you have to like get a flight to go to this location, that means that he would have to leave his job because he was, he's obviously the police station must be local. That's how that works.
Guys tell
True.
Grandma?
What, about the mean shit that Mom said? Yeah. She was beyond angry.
It's always this character dropping the profanity, isn't it?
Agree.
Good. I hope she tells Mom off.
It took everything we had to not have Grandma call Mom and tell her off right then and there. But Mom doesn't know where we are, and Elton doesn't want her to know.
Neither do I.
Didn't Elton literally say in the first, for the first place, we're going to grandmother's house because that's where we're
Yes.
appreciated?
Yes.
So yeah, the mum knows exactly where you are.
Why?
This is
Kids,
the fourth
dinner!
draft.
Ow, my
Oh.
ears!
Who is Elton? Elton is the eldest sibling, I think. He is the tall blonde one. Well, blondish white. That guy, one in the center. Is that
Okay, are there-
Omarice? I think that's Omarice. Hey, Mania,
Alright.
are you a Kobayashi fan? Because I'm a Kobayashi fan.
If it's like spaghetti with green peas and bacon, then ew!
Mm. Fun fact, you know, what Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid season 1 was part of the reason that I was intrigued by the concept of Dragon Girls, which led to the Mutant Girl a couple years later. So there you go.
Ah.
Ah, so the true lore of Morwenna's backstory.
No.
Oh no, are we in the void
It's
again?
canon, guys.
That's
Guys!
not what I said.
Canon.
Gaia, I hope whatever plan you have works, because this doesn't look like it will end well.
I mean, I'll be honest, this looks like the most normal of the beginnings of the season so far. Okay,
Looks like
So that was clearly the goddess of the stars, right?
I feel like, yeah, because she had like stars around her and everything.
Well, that's not just it. You can see constellations in her arms.
Ah, that, okay.
That is true, yes. Good old-fashioned galaxy print, as they call it. And also seem to be just looking at what looked like to be like just a huge like conglomeration of stars rather than the planet itself, which might mean that someone is watching over the entire universe. To which I say, thank goodness Sam doesn't travel in space, or we'd all be deaf by now. What exactly are you watching? I feel lost. Well, yeah, I mean, you did come in through like halfway through, so
Well, that's okay because we got a title for a reason.
yeah, I guess I guess the best way to summarize what we just watched was an attempt to make things right, both in and out of universe. And yeah, there's no description this time for Mystic Hills: The Magic Within. Well, I mean, there is a description. There's one that has all the credits and the merch plugs and all that, you know, all that fun and jazz.
Do we have an upload schedule yet? Has one been announced?
For this series? I don't think so. I mean, the last one came out April 5th, so I guess whenever the next episode comes out, we'll be able to see. Let me just check, actually. Because last time Minnie got onto my case about not researching that, which, first of all, I didn't want to say anything about the new remake that was coming out, because you mentioned, oh, you know, we're doing a new one, right? It's like, well, yes, but I didn't want people to know about that before it came out, and now it's out, so I can talk about it. But yeah, there's nothing that the next that there isn't another one that's out yet.
God, please, not another one.
So yeah, well, I mean, another one as in an episode.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take an episode 2.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I guess I can go back to like the comparison ones in the future, because like my original idea was to compare the Mystic Hills original to what I consider to be the one and only remake at the time. And then Mania said there's another one, and then there was another one that was already in progress as well.
It's all right. You can look at the first draft and then check out the fourth.
Well, I mean,
you can compare those two.
I mean, I have now. I mean, well, that would just be retreading old ground now, because I've obviously like covered both of those videos at this point. I mean, I don't want to just be making people watch the exact same things over and over again. There's plenty of gacha, plenty of Minecraft, plenty of everything to go around. We don't need to necessarily. Yeah.
Now, I don't know if it's too late or not, or if might just be a bad idea. It could be. But now that we have a canonical explanation for the past reboots, what I would do is I would go back and retitle those videos and list them as following episodes. So where the original ended, have the reboot be just the next episode instead of episode 1 of the reboot.
Oh, you're saying that for me? I thought you were talking about like me for the streams.
No, I mean actually she goes in there and like edits the titles so that way it's like treated as a continuous season.
Yeah, see, I don't know, because based on what happened with the co-writer of this and a bunch of the other drama and the fact that Mania did eventually feel like she lost control of the series that she created, which kind of started this vicious cycle in the first place. It's that probably would be like, retroactively making that once again still the canon version, or I guess the one and only canon version. I mean, then
but it is the canon version.
Yeah, the one and only. From what I can gather right now, until this remake came out, each version existed in a different canon to the others. However, now that's obviously like not so sure.
So wait, is this series like unfinished then?
Yes.
The original Mystic Hills, the full series did actually finish.
Okay, so like the original did.
None of the remakes have as of right now. Obviously, this one just started, but the other two,
Right.
Unfortunately, were left incomplete, which means that Mania was eventually like, this is not going to work. I'm kind of worried that might end up being the case here as well. But I don't think it will be for some time at this point.
I feel like at this point, just turn into a movie if you're having trouble.
Yeah, I like how you say that as if a movie would be easier.
I know the movies aren't easy, but I feel like, if you want to do a remake and finish a remake, then maybe try doing a movie. Like, try to take a different approach.
I disagree.
Something for a beginning, middle, and end. I see where you're coming from, actually.
Yeah.
I disagree completely. I think a movie, especially now,
obviously now, because now the series has started. It's too late.
Well, I know, but especially now, if you were to do that, now that you've added these other things to the canon, and now you also introduce gods into the mix, there's too much of a big story that I don't think you could fit into a clean 1 hour feature film, quite frankly. Sorry, well, okay, arguably 2.5, maybe 3 if you consider how movies have been lately, but still.
Trilogy?
Yeah, but I don't know. I like big things like that, especially whenever you introduce gods. Especially then. I like having the big, epic kind of style. I like having it a big, long journey from beginning to end. And whenever you introduce the cosmic stuff, it just gets so cool, and you get to start the series out in a very grounded, realistic manner and slowly climb up and up and up and up until it's really grandiose. You have such good opportunity whenever you throw those things in the mix, and I think a film, and arguably 3 films even, kind of shortens that a little bit more than I would prefer.
Quadrilogy.
Do you like
just keep adding movies? Are you just getting a hexatrology?
Wait, maybe better. Do you like Moon Knight then? I'm just curious.
Did I like Moon Knight? Moon Knight was alright. It could have been a bit darker. However, all things considered, I think their portrayal of DID was unimaginably realistic compared to what
No,
I
I have
actually
not
expected.
heard.
Don't put this one. Don't put this one on the count, by the way, because people didn't start this conversation. This one doesn't count.
Okay. No, I really, really like their portrayal of DID in that show. It was so accurate.
I heard like a lot of people who said who have the ID love the way they portrayed it in Moon Knight and everything.
Yeah,
Like-
it was really good.
I actually recall at one point, a slide before Moon Knight came out, that you and I think one of the Dexter system, probably Sinis, I think, at one point said that Split had left such a negative impact on
It did, yeah.
how DID films were made that neither of you saw a potential one coming in the near future to rectify that. Lo and behold, 1 year later, Moon Knight came out. So
that's correct. You can argue about whether Moon Knight was or wasn't a good show, but I think as far as DID representation goes, I stand corrected, and man, am I happy to say it.
There you go.
Yeah, no, Split, terrible. At least as far as that sort of representation. Moon Knight, again, a bit arguable on if you want to. It was another like 8-episode like Disney Plus show. They tend to speed those ones. It was a bit weird. Also, wish it was rated R. But if you're talking about the DID rep specifically, A+, splendid, perfect.
Yeah.
Well, good. On the subject of standing corrected, there's the obvious thing about the timelines this time. Now that we've watched the whole thing, arguably I can say like it does give the other reboots a sense of purpose, rather than them just both being discarded versions that could have had something more to them. It feels like even in universe, there's some sort of ulterior motive, which may or may not line up with the actual creator's ulterior motive of fixing a timeline. Because especially when you leave a bunch of stories and things unsatisfied, it almost seems like obviously what is it about the particular last thing that came out that actually makes it so that it's so irredeemable that you can't continue. I mean, yes, we've talked about the problems in both of the other reboot versions, but neither one I think was really irreparable would be the word, as was phrased in here. Again, that just speaks to what I said at the beginning of the stream, which was the tragedy of an artist constantly going over again and again and again, going over the exact same thing over and over until they find a perfected version. But the more they actually do that, the more that concept slips away, and the fact you have to realize there is no perfect version. Nothing anyone's ever going to make is going to be perfect. That's the thing. And if you think that it is, chances are you're missing out on some important things that probably make it not ideal at all. It's good to have that criticism, self-reflection, but obviously don't let it drag you down. I mean, we all cringe our younger selves. The original Mystic Hills is 5 years old at this point. Of course, there's going to be some aspects that are cringy now. Of course, there are going to be some things that could have been done better. That's just how the process goes.
Yeah, see, but that's why I'm saying that they should retitle the episodes to be continuous. I get the whole like idea of like, oh, well, is one other person's idea. Well, big whoop. Those versions never finished.
One version. The original version became like hijacked at one point. It's the same thing that happened to Ten Diamond Season 2, actually, where Shorty felt that control was basically being wrestled away during that time.
Well, the thing is, I feel like the second you retcon the other versions into this like repeating cycle in a very explicit way, I feel like retitling it is a good idea, not just so that way you can tell people, hey, this is connected, but because you probably weren't planning on it before, which means whenever they go and watch that whole big playlist, right, and then they see events repeat, retroactively you have made a mystery. right? Because then it's like, okay, but these events have happened. I get the sense of deja vu. Why? What is occurring here? And then you get that bigger story of not just Mystic Hills, but also this, that's kind of like a prelude to what is shown in this, where there is a cosmic force tampering with things, in that something along those previous episodes, something went awry. And then people are looking, well, okay, what happened here, you know?
Okay. Mania, speak to you directly right now. I'm sorry for what I'm about to say right now. I have to do this. It's the only example I can think of in my head. Please forgive me. So with Aphmau, that's an example of what you just said. Obviously, Aphmau has a remake of episode 1 of My Street, where several events repeat themselves. Not several events. It's one event. It's the Zane and Flowers scene. Does that retroactively make a mystery as well? Furthermore, would you say that Diaries Rebirth then should have been titled Season 3, Episode 38 or 39 or something? Because you said before you like to refer to some people like the different versions.
Yes.
They start with Diaries Remake and then go into whatever episode they end up like ending on.
Yeah, which is like episode 40 something of the original. I have it somewhere in my timeline.
Yeah.
But so the difference for me is because in this version it's shown explicitly in both a way people that have been following behind the scenes will understand the message of, and narratively in universe are laid out quite clearly. And that's different than the way Aphmau did it, because upon Aphmau being asked, hey, what's the canonicity of this? She gave a incredibly vague answer.
I was in that stream.
Out of universe. So first off, you could argue it's the death of the author, but second, it's so vague that my interpretation of it is only what makes sense to me. There is not technically confirmation for it, because I took what she said and interpreted it. But even she said, yeah, I know it doesn't make a lot of sense. I'll go get my journal eventually, and I'll just straight up read it for you guys so we can understand. Well, Aphmau, where's that journal stream?
Diary. She should have said diary. I'll get my diary. It was right there.
Yeah, but she was like, don't worry, I'll do a whole stream where I just grab my journal where I lay it out all nice and clearly, the graphs and everything. I'm like, whoopee, where's that? I don't know. To this day, on 2023, I still haven't seen that stream. Did I miss it?
I'll be perfectly honest. Aphmau could just, make photocopies, like scan that journal electronically and publish that on Amazon or something. I would buy that book.
So would I. No, absolutely.
I would settle for that.
Absolutely.
Oh my god, just to mention, there's like an official book series of My Street.
But you see the difference for me, right? The context of how this information is laid out, and the fact that it's laid out at all, and it's shown in a clear way that if you wanted to, you could do the episode by episode way, and it would all come together eventually. Whereas for My Street, again, it is just my interpretation, and I will never, ever get a confirmation, because let's be honest, she's never doing a roleplay again.
You've built up that mystery, like as you mentioned before.
Yeah, but the thing is, that's a mystery of how does it fit in, not so much, right? Like, how does it fit in general, and not so much how does it fit into an actual storyline that is designed to have this be a repeating cycle, because that's not what she wants. It doesn't look like.
Yeah. I've got one question for you. That's to do with season 6. So, KW, cover your ears. Didn't Michael specifically call Irene a destroyer of worlds and such? Could that not have been a reference to the fact that something was being reset behind the scenes?
It could have been, but it also could have been a reference to maybe what happened in Void Paradox. You got to keep in mind, Irene is an entity that seems to be multiversal. She is referenced in every universe for the most part. So it seems like she has a control over these different universes, and the fact that she has the power to literally create gods, i.e. the divine warriors, she could have stopped what happened in Void Paradox. So if you want to get into theorizing territory, I think it's very possible. You could be right. Maybe he was referencing something similar to Mystic Hills. But it's also possible, I think, that because Void Paradox was supposed to get a season 2, remember, I think that was a reference to the fact that Irene let that happen and let at least 2 universes possibly get demolished.
Kind of seems weird for the Demon Warlock to call Irene out for that, but yeah, either way. Okay.
I think it was more so his idea. I think it was more so the cliche, you think I'm bad, well, look at what you've done kind of line.
I see. All right, then. Okay, KW can uncover your ears. Just doing that signal.
It's a small world after all. Oh, hi.
Hi.
Okay, right. Okay, we're done. I apologize, Maya, for that tangent about Afmal. Let's get back to comparing Mystic Hills to itself, because that's one aspect we haven't mentioned yet. Is obviously what did this actually do better and worse than the other remakes and the original?
I mean,
do you want to start, KW, since you weren't there for any of those?
Right. I guess I'll do my pros and cons first.
The same boat I was in last stream.
Why would you start with like an or something going to say something if you don't know the context?
No. I like, honestly, I think I can see why the person may have wanted to do the remix, but like you said, it could lose a lot of concepts and such. And honestly, like, it's not bad at the start of a new remake version of it, but I feel like there's just some stuff that's just, I don't know, it's like an for me. Honestly, I think it's just because there's like a lot of void stuff, which I don't understand why they need a whole lot of void stuff. I guess just because they wanted to like let you know everything in, but I feel like they should have done it where it's like spread out. Like the second time that she goes into the void, it should be like in another episode or something like that. It's just I don't like honestly don't really like the void stuff. Like I was fine for the beginning, but when I keep seeing it, it was just like it's just really too much, honestly, for like storytelling wise. So I just feel like the void should be like a lot spread out, or just give you an idea that like she's still going into the void and hearing things and such. But other than that, I just feel like it could have spread out more than like trying to put everything into one episode. Because if you're trying to put so much info in one episode, it's gonna go downhill. I like spreading the story out. Like, just give us a basic idea. Like, okay, in the beginning with the void, that works, and then do that in the next few episodes with the other void stuff. So
that's true. The second scene did seem somewhat redundant, considering that the whole idea, like the help us and everything, all that was revealed in the second one really was that, you know, Gaia's name was Gaia. Okay.
Which
cool.
really ruined the void setting.
So yeah, it had a negative impact indeed. It also meant that Mania actually spends most of her screen time in a suit where she's the main character, asleep.
Yeah, that's my major problem.
So,
I mean, there's being so good at doing a performance in your sleep, and there's literally doing a performance in your sleep.
Yeah, so I'll say, I wouldn't have had this complaint if it hadn't happened like 3 times in the same episode. But upon it happening so much, I'll give just a full rewrite of the episode, and you could like take or undo certain bits of this.
Please don't do more of these. I'm not saying that. Just don't remake this again. It's fine.
Yeah, no, of course.
Just keep going with it.
Yeah, and you could keep like what you've had here, and it could be pretty good. It's just more so like if I were in your shoes, what would I do? So I guess let's start out with the God stuff. Great, awesome, cool. So happy I called it. So happy. But what I think I might have done in your situation. So I already said last time we reviewed this, I kind of had this idea of kind of like an anthology, kind of like high school drama that slowly went into this like, hey, what's the history of the town or whatever, right? let's recycle a little bit of that, recycle. Let's, bring things back full circle. Sure. So I think in the first episode, you could have had something like just a completely unexplained, whisper, right? And later on, it would be revealed to be Gaia or one of the other two deities, right? And so people would be like, huh, that's weird. And so every few episodes, you'd have one or two whispers, and it'd be like, what's going on? And upon them say, I don't know, around the point where they're like, hey, let's ditch this place, let's go and explore the town and see what's going on, right? At that point, maybe after they find just a normal book or something, that's a huge divergence points of the themes of these series. And so then
every time it always comes back to some sort of mysterious book with you.
Okay, fine. A letter. I don't know. Something. I'm only saying that because you can visually see the character picking up or something. It could be anything technically. But
just gets a text, unknown number. This is God. Help.
What is your opinion on Jesus Christ, your Savior?
I don't run away from your Lord.
But no. So upon getting it, right? Maybe that's whenever you'd have you know what? I'm changing the void bit. I'm some lush place now that we know it's Gaia. I'm just saying the void would have been okay if it weren't ran by the Earth goddess.
Okay,
honestly,
so
if you want to go Greek, just use. If you want to go Greek, use Tartarus or Erebus. Use Erebus or Nyx.
Or Hades. I don't know. Does Hades work? I don't know.
Hades. It depends on which part of the underworld you're in.
He's too busy and probably not high enough to rewrite time. Kronos! Use Kronos!
Yeah, oh my god, yes!
The son of Gaia!
It's true.
Oh my god.
But no, maybe after, I don't know. I'm going to stick with book. You can blank it out with something else. It doesn't really matter.
Mania, I will happily audition as Kronos. I have my site ready for my performance.
After getting the sickle from the chest, they maybe have a really quick flash where it's no longer just a whisper. It's like a flash between this dingy, dark little underground, abandoned location to this beautiful, lush place, and maybe even show the backside of Gaia or something, right? Where you finally see possibly what this whispering voice has been. It's huh. And then you start to build up significantly faster. Hey, now that the door's open, it's this thing has been doing this stuff, right? And so that's whenever you get things have been repeating and the cycle's been going. And it maybe if you want to go into the meaning of
the mortals most have that vision revealed to them once they do it.
And maybe if you really wanted to get into a bit of a more philosophical topic, you could be what's the point of all of it, right? And I don't know, I feel it'd be a lot easier in that situation. Now you could keep the whole going to sleep and all that. That's just purely just from scratch because it's the first episode. But I think my biggest complaint is I wish you spread out the other dimension stuff. I don't like calling it the void because I don't think you should have kept it as the void in the first place, but I think the premise is great.
I'm not sure if the word void was ever said in the episode, but we just kind
of
said
but that's the adjective that you'd use to describe that location.
Yeah, that's true.
It could have a name, but it is the black place.
The emptiness.
Yeah, it is this black empty place besides 3 deities and possibly ran by the Earth goddess, who should be the most bright.
Huh.
Apart from, I guess, Aethra, but whatever. Yeah. Okay, so I guess in that regard, again, just drawing back to the comparisons to, I'll do my pros and cons first, then I'll do the original comparisons, everything. So, because someone asked, Josh asked before, what do what what do I like and dislike and everything. Okay, so the thing that I've obviously it's a bit kind of cliche for me now to say, I the cinematography and visuals and everything. I mean, Mania's always been really good at like these like the intros and everything, and especially like picking some like very decent songs to accompany like the theme song of the series. And slowly but surely, like the intro sequences have been getting longer, but they're also getting like much more varied. And since the series has now been planned, much more so than in previous days. Here I go comparing again. That it actually feels like we'll actually get to those points. They'll be more meaningful, especially if this is kept up. I'm especially intrigued to see Mania actually vlogging this time at the start of that. Is that going to come back into anything? I wonder.
No, I think. Yeah, I don't know. I think as far as the episode itself goes, it
it's
good. Yeah, good start. Probably the best premise of all of them so far. Maybe just take a step or two back.
Okay, yeah. Well, hold on. I'm not done yet. So yeah, what I actually getting to the story, which is obviously the main part that I tend to critique. The other reboots suffered from taking things away. This one actually, yeah, there's a lot that seems missing, but it's deliberately missing, and it's stuff that will keep the investment up rather than just going at rather than raising questions like what on earth were they thinking, rather than okay, what's going on, let's find out some more. This time it's actually it's given time. Yes, the stuff with timelines and everything at the beginning does immediately set the tone for like obviously like what you're in for. Mania does famously hate the opening of the first Mystic Hills, where it's just the family moving into a new house. So having the god stuff at the beginning makes definite sense behind the scenes. And it does, and obviously, that all important hook at the beginning definitely, like for someone not watching this to review it, will intrigue everyone. For the first time, actually, I was gonna say for the first time, it feels like the Mystic Hills reboots don't have to rely on the originals to understand what's going on. It kind of like that scene alone kind of goes against what I'm saying. The rest of it, not so much. Unfortunately, because of the stuff that happens with Mania, we don't really get to know anything about her. If anything, Elton seems to take center stage. As Mania is still clearly meant to be the main character, but Elton's the one who's actually driving the actions and the plot. You don't want to have a main protagonist who is too reactive, especially in episode 1. I'm sure that that's not the case going forward. But from episode 1 point, that seems to be a little bit of a loss here. Now to compare to the originals and the remakes and everything.
Right.
I can't think of anything that the other two remakes did that is better than this version, apart from Mania's character. Because obviously Mania still, in fact, in the first remake, I think because they still kept a little bit of the coma thing I mentioned before. Like Nick doesn't end up in a coma in that version. He also doesn't swear as much, but he's still conscious. The house did indeed burn down, and Maya does blame herself for it. So that and it's not like outright said for ages. I sort of it kind of is like someone's like, oh yeah, you burned down the house and everything. Of course, that's why we're here in the car right now. A little bit of that going on. But we get to see like the effect for Mania herself, which is one of the things that I really enjoyed most about the original. The original is from Mania's perspective entirely, because this is obviously, this was you always start off with first person things,
right?
And even then it does actually raise the question, because like the first time we see like anything to do with like the house burning down and everything, first time it's ever like explicit is actually again during that first intro sequence, where we actually see the house burn down and everyone being rushed out from the hospital and everything. So yeah, But Mania actually, during that time, instead of just reacting to everything, she actually does at one point break down, like during the episode. And that's not even mentioning the fact that, of course, the other remakes, they go into the mystic stuff right away. So obviously Mystic Hills is a series where it includes a bunch of mystics. That's partly where the name of the town comes from and everything. The original version just went from a high school drama to start introducing these things. And once we've already seen a bit of Mania's journey, then her mission becomes clear to do her thing and assemble the team of mystic hunters and all that stuff. The other versions go straight for that, and I always prefer the approach from the first one, was just like, okay, let's just have the characters be themselves right now, and then we get sort of introduced to these things. So again, since the original version, this is my favorite version apart from that one. I guess you could say I'm still a little nostalgic for the olden days and everything. But yeah, if this had been the only remake or something, then by all means, it feels very satisfactory. A few too many characters here and there that didn't need to be possibly introduced. But I guess if they're going to have future parts in the rest of the actual series, then I'm perhaps judging that part too early. So I am willing to wait and see. There we go.
So
I think that's all.
Yeah, so I'm glad you brought up the that scene with Elton. So I forgot about it for a second there, but I did have something to say about that one. So I thought that the idea was quite cool. I do wish they spoke less. I would have had an almost entirely silent scene, actually. Maybe some music, possibly some rain sound effects. But overall, and especially with this better like visuals with the body types and stuff, maybe if we could get some reflections, if that's even possible. And that's a it's not that bit's not necessary, but if it's possible, that'd be pretty cool. Kind of just play around with your angles, fiddle with those, maybe have some tracking shots and make it really feel panicky as they're running across the rain. Like as soon as they like exit the house, you go over, like you zoom past them and you kind of like almost pan, seeing them run across the city in this like pouring rain, and the music is swelling, and maybe you can even hear the mom yelling in the background, almost like echoing, like it was in the very beginning of the episode, where it's like you can hear her like echoing, like instead of her saying maybe stay away, instead maybe hear like get back here, to kind of give an almost like monstrous feel, to make it to make it feel like something's chasing them, even if she might not be.
That scene could actually work. Yeah.
The mom is yelling, rain pours, music swelling. It's all about showing, not telling, more compelling. I don't know.
But no, I love the idea of them like running and it getting all panicky. You can hear her almost like monstrously roaring, like get back here.
Rather than get out, because that contradicts what you said at the start of the scene as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
that's
I
true.
only say the get back here bit because I feel like whether she actually is chasing them or not, it gives the feeling that she is after them.
Yeah, no. I forgot that she like contradicted herself in the beginning of the scene, like saying you need to stay here, and then she goes like, actually get out of here. And I'm like, do you want them to stay or go? Like, make up your mind, woman.
Come on, game designers, make up your mind. Yeah.
Oh god.
I'm so glad you get like half of my references. Like, my goodness.
Half is the amount necessary. I like that.
Look, half is a decent amount by the standards of most people. I go very obscure sometimes. Oh, that wasn't obscure. That was Game Grumps, but still, occasionally I go obscure.
In your defense, Game Grumps isn't as popular as they used to be.
Yes, but this was also one of their most popular videos. But yeah, okay. Okie dokie. Yeah, the reason that she does say like get out at the end is because she actually did spend some time arguing with Elton. If she did, it would be get back here if they just like snuck out before, like you said. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okie dokie. Now I think I think we've come to an end. Yeah, looking forward to seeing some more episodes of this. Mostly because I know that I mostly because I recorded lines of one of them the day before I got sick. I hope that wasn't a contributing factor to what happened. So yeah, we'll see that in the future, and we'll see everyone else here in the future hopefully as well. I don't know if I'm gonna end up watching every video 2 weeks late, but we'll see. And maybe, who knows? Maybe now I'll go if the episode 2 comes out. I'll compare it to episode 2 of the original and keep that going. We shall see. Because I do actually want to show like what the rest of the actual original Mystic Hills was, so I can defend it more.
Please, guys, watch the original. We promise it's good.
It is though. It's a bit dated, but it's good. Okay.
I mean, no. Like, I usually try to remain like other like Minecraft roleplay series too, like especially if they're old ones. So even if they are canceled.
Yeah, part of me like really wants to go back and watch some of like the really old Minecraft roleplays, and I'm talking about like the ones that were like coming out when I was like just starting to watch YouTube in general. I didn't even have a channel yet.
When Jacob was just a lad.
Tale of Kingdoms, Land of Madrid, like stuff like that.
Back when he was a lad, eating 12 dozen eggs every morning.
Heck, I'll watch some classic exploding TNT. Those technically count.
My favorite old Minecraft roleplay series is called Haunted, where it's like these two guys started as kids and then like you know it too. Oh
okay.
My God.
Okay, I have a very particular history with that one. So actually, one of my school friends showed me that the first bits of that. Well, the Haunting mini movie before the started out, and then afterwards, when I started watching the Haunted, that was again wasn't very just something on my own, and then I just constantly forgot about it, and so she would occasionally ask me, "Oh, have you started like watching more of the Haunted?" I was like, "No, sorry, I haven't got through that yet," and they just keep on repeating that same vicious cycle, and still like appreciating the fact that like she was like into like that fandom when it was still going on as well. So like there's like even an original song that was running around somewhere, which I actually sang in a doing homework episode. We don't have much the choice. Chaos, darkness everywhere. Light a torch and grasp your sword, and you only know one thing. The darkness may spread, Herobrine's legend shall unfold. No, know what you would do if it could be bad news. You know it will be everlasting. Everlasting hope. Yeah, I would sing that all the time to annoy her because they didn't have a proper tune, so just that version existed. Yeah, yet I never finished watching the series. So you know what? That's the next Minecraft thing I'll watch. It might be the next stream in general, but the next Minecraft review will be of the whole thing, aside from the beginning, and then I'll actually go through and I'll properly.
Love that Minecraft series so much. I was so sad when it's like keep getting canceled. Like, come on, I just want to know what happens in the end.
I will keep my promise to Phoenix Diamondite because that's who it was. I'll keep my promise and actually finish that off. Maybe I'll invite to other streams. We'll see. It depends.
Maybe get a continuation of Tertius Hazelwick.
Yes. If people don't get that reference, Phoenix Diamondite plays Tia the Wood in the last log of Tertius Hazelwick, which is one of my old Minecraft roleplays.
Oh wow.
Yes, which I would put on the list, but it's so boring that it's not worth making a stream out of. Again, the premise was all right, but I really should have planned that one out. That's one of the ones that I keep thinking like that's one thing that I want to bring back just because I never finished it.
Yeah, that's one of those. So I don't want to give away.
I remade it as well.
So I don't want to give it away exactly because it's going to be legitimately years until I actually get the opportunity to do it. But I have thought about bringing back one or two elements from that series and kind of bringing them into some of my own Butterverse stuff and kind of going into detail with some of them.
Perhaps we should talk about that then. That might give me a bit of a concept. We'll see.
I will tell you after stream, but telling you on stream would be a spoiler for the viewers.
Of course. Naturally, yes. Okie dokie. Well, I mean, I keep saying okie dokie. I've realized I do that more and more now. Not sure where that came from. I just started doing that now. Anyways, let's wrap that up then, and we can talk some more about that. And I will, I guess, super more for the haunting, because of course, like I always say, you got to start from the beginning and keep going, no matter how cringy the past may be. It comes for all of us. Time always time awaits. so yeah.
Is that the sickle that Kronos used by chance?
Yes, from when I actually played Kronos in a play one time.
Oh, Jesus,
wow.
that thing has seen the balls of Oranos.
We did actually do that scene in the play, so yes, it has.
What grade were you in to allow the castration of Oranos?
I was in drama school at that time. That was
okay.
Yeah,
I was back here picturing like a bunch of like elementary school equivalents back here doing the castration of Oranos.
I couldn't lift this thing in elementary school. It's not heavy by any means, but I just mean like by like
what's it
basic
made out of?
center
Is it wood?
Oh well, the bottom part is wood. The rest of it is papier mâché. It's just because there's a weird center of gravity, so I don't think a child could hold this properly.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So yeah, that was actually like a month before the mutant girl started, I think. So again, very much around the same time that my, main phase of Greek mythology started, thus prompting Mrs. Dysart. But yeah, we've talked about that in detail. So yes, it is time to end the stream now. So please leave a like or dislike, because your opinion matters, and subscribe to us already. And on that note, until next time, farewell.